Fuck it, let's do this. Okay. Welcome back to my channel. Welcome to my review of Broken Dove. I was thinking I was going to try to start this off with like unspoilery opinions, I don't know, an unspoilery review, and then it occurred to me that there's literally no way for me to review this book without that sounding incredibly biased by my intense feelings that I have about this book. Let's preface this with the fact that I mean that in the worst way. I gave Broken Dove 2 stars. I'm pretty sure the last time I gave a book 2 stars, it was some sort of fat-phobic, misogynistic, written by a man BS several years ago. Like, it takes a lot for me to rate something as low as 2 stars. The only reason that this didn't get a 1 is because I still love Cross and, like, Grayson. I received an Arc of Silver Elite back in 2024, I think. So like the December-ish. I don't want to waste the time holding this book up. I hate that I don't know what to do with it now. Can you see it if I put it right here? I received Silver Elite, an Arc of Silver Elite in 2024, like right before Christmas time. When I tell you that Silver Elite owned my soul, I recommended it to anyone and everyone who would listen. I was obsessed with that book. I was obsessed with Ren and Cross. For those of you who have not read it, I guess I'm a little confused about why you're here, but like, you know what? You guys do you. If you haven't read Silver Elite, it was, in my opinion, kind of the first book that marked like a little bit of a comeback of dystopian, you know? We were writing more books in the Hunger Games series, right? Suzanne Collins was trying to do her comeback. I was obsessed. I read it. I loved it. And the things that I loved about it were that it felt like a callback to like the dystopians of the 2010s, right? You've got the Hunger Games, you've got Divergent, there's The Darkest Minds, which was my personal favorite of the like 2010 dystopians. My other favorite, which is The Razorland Chronicles by Anne Aguirre. I think that the hallmark of what made specifically The Darkest Minds and The Razorland Chronicles so special to me was that they did not fall into the 2010s trope of the love triangle. I guess that started before the 2010s because like Twilight kind of did it first. I'm gonna apologize in advance. This video is gonna be all over the place. I didn't script it, I didn't write any notes. I am literally just here to tell you guys my feelings about this book in like the most blunt way possible. So let's go back. Silver Elite was a callback to the dystopians of the 2010s, right? You had an oppressed group of people, the aberrant or the Loki's click-clacking again, I'm sorry. The aberrant or the defects or whatever they were calling them, and you've got the primes, which are the people that like don't have any powers. The reason it reminds me of The Darkest Minds is because you've got people that have like different kinds of psychic abilities. You've got telepaths, you've got precogs, you've got mind control, like there's a whole list of things that people can do, right? Projection of like images into other people's minds, so on and so forth. That's pretty similar for me to The Darkest Minds, and I thought it was a lot of fun. I thought the entire concept, Ren, grieving her uncle, decides to like sneak into the academy and like take them down from the inside for the rebellion, like because of course she does, and she falls in love with the person who she shouldn't, who is the general's son, Cross Redden. And honestly, we've been so far removed from the dystopian era that it felt like a breath of fresh air. Like it felt nice going back to that and like subverting all of the expectations that you had back in the dystopian era, in my opinion. I loved this book, right? They were supportive of each other even though they were in like an enemies to lovers kind of situation. And this is the part where we get spoilery because I'm not going to talk about Broken Dove without spoilering Silver Elite, right? So if you haven't read Silver Elite and you don't want to know how Silver Elite ends, this is probably the part where you step away. And fair warning, I'm going to be spoiling Broken Dove, so if you don't want that, this is not for you. And so inevitably at the end of that story, you find out that Cross is not just the general's son that she's been sleeping with this entire time, but he's also Wolf, who is a person that she telepathically connected to, there goes Loki again, as a child. They've been linked since they were 6, they've been best friends, they've never met in person, but they've like talked to each other for like almost 2 decades, I guess, probably at this point, because they're like in their early 20s, I think. They have a stronger, longer connection. They've been friends their entire lives. Once she finds this out, like they're thick as thieves. She realizes, oh my god, I don't have to feel as conflicted about what I feel for you because you're not a prime after all. Like, you're the person that I've been friends with my entire life. I know you. And obviously this like kicks their relationship into a new gear. Things happen. Cross ends up cleaning up her messes because like by the end of this book, Ren starts making worse decisions in my opinion, but like she's still doing what she thinks is right. She has a power in which she can mind control other people. She tried to use it to save her Uncle Jim. She wasn't able to utilize it. There's a woman called, I think her name's like Jade Valance or something like that, who has precog abilities and was about to like stumble upon her, setting bombs to like help the rebellion. And so she tells Jade Valance to like shoot herself in the head, and it works this time. She's murdered, and she immediately goes, oh shit, I don't know what to do, calls Cross for help, and Cross cleans up her mess. And then bad things happen with the general because one of the rebellion members has the ability to like essentially mess somebody's entire brain up, you know? So she comes in and she does that, and he's no longer a functioning human being, like he's essentially completely brain dead, and they escape. And people realize that Ren was a part of this rebellion, and so she goes into hiding and she has to escape. Cross helps her do so. He sends his friend Xavier Ford to like help her get to the rebellion base camp. And that's where book 1 ends, is Xavier and Ren are running through the Blacklands and they are trying to get to the base camp or whatever of like the rebellion. Cross stays behind for personal reasons. He's trying to protect his mom because his mom is innocent, but she's like got some mental stuff going on that we're not entirely sure what's caused by it yet. And so he knows that he can't leave his mom. He also knows that if he can work from the inside and try and do what he can to like help mods from the inside, if he can do so. And so he stays behind at the end of book 1. So that's literally the end of it. But they're still telepathically connected, so they can still talk. So you would think that if they can talk to each other in their minds at great distances at will, miscommunication would be the last trope that we would have to deal with. I have so many issues with book 2, it's not even funny. Now what I didn't talk about was like she befriended a guy at the academy who's like a pilot. His name is Cade? I don't really remember what they called him. He was so irrelevant to me because I loved Cross and Ren so much. Anyway, he like dies during an op and they're very sad, and it turns out like on the last page he was working for the rebellion the entire time. He stole a plane. They weren't actually, like, he wasn't actually dead the entire time. Yay, celebrate, her friend's alive. And then you enter book 2. Let's start at the beginning. Cross is in jail. Ren is at the base camp with Ford, but it starts out okay, right? She's at the base camp. She's trying, it's called Blue Dagger base. She's at Blue Dagger base. Grayson's the one who like picks her up. She's trying to gain the trust of the rebellion, essentially the uprising is what it's called. She's trying to gain the trust of the uprising, and Xavier's in jail. And Cross, unbeknownst to Ren, because he's keeping secrets from her because he doesn't want to worry her, we'll get into that later, is locked up in his own prison because they don't trust him anymore. And they know that he was sleeping with her, and she's got a red thread on her, meaning that she's like absolute top tier, like we must find her and kill her, essentially. That's where we start book 2. Which doesn't feel that bad, you know? Cross gets out of jail, Ren's trying to earn the trust, she wants to go on ops, and I don't really know when the situation starts to devolve as badly as it does, but let's just run through a few of my biggest issues that I have with this book. We kind of continue on in that vein until about 40% of the way through the book, and that's where it all starts to go downhill. So she gets Xavier out, and he gets to like follow her around the base like a puppy, and there's really nothing truly wrong except that like somehow she's having a hard time getting into contact with Cross, and Cross is having a hard time getting into contact with her. They have the ability to telepathically link with each other whenever they freaking want to, but can they do it? Apparently not. Every single time they try, one is busy doing something, but with Ren, it's like she's busy going to a party, and she's like, I can't talk right now, and he's like, oh, okay. So like, the priorities aren't really there, which is wild to me because of how like insanely in love with him she said that she was in the beginning of book 1, and how insanely in love with him she keeps saying and insisting that she is throughout book 2. And so they can't link up with each other, which is wild to me. And you know what I actually thought we were going to get? Because book 1, pretty steamy. Book 2, steamy for all the wrong reasons, but my issue is you'd think that we would get some kind of telepathic version of like phone sex, right? Because like she flirts with him while he's literally locked up in like a stockade. He can't touch anything, his arms are up, but she's flirting with him, and they're like, oh, it's a problem. But we don't even try and go down this route of like No, they do sleep together at some point because she convinces Grayson, the pilot, to take her like to the city, I guess. They fake an identity for her and she like sneaks into that brothel from book 1 and they spend the entire, I think they have like 3 hours together. They spend the entire time having sex and then at the end of it they're like, oh, we should probably talk like logistics, and then they don't actually talk about anything important. And then she's gotta like run off and go back to the uprising and he has to go back to whatever the fuck he's been doing. That is the only in-person interaction of note until we get to one later. I'll talk to that in a second. So that's the only in-person interaction that we get between the two of them that gives any sorts of vibes that they do in fact still love each other. Because then we find out that the salt mine that her friend Tana has been sent to, and I guess her father too, maybe? I don't remember. They're like about to ship off all of the mods that are slaves at this salt mine and like send them somewhere else and kill the ones that they can't take with them. And so all of a sudden the uprising's like, oh my god, we must do something. She gets this information from Cross. Cross, I don't remember how, or I don't remember why, but Cross gives her this information that they are going to do this to the salt mine. And she like makes up a reason why she has this information so that she can tell it to the rebellion leaders, and they're like, oh no, we must do something, we confirmed this information. So instead of working with the singular person that she knows that's on the inside, no, she puts all of her trust in the super sketchy rebellion because she's a dumbass. And she has made stupid decisions through this entire book. I don't think Ren did a single smart thing the entire fucking time. Not once. Not once did she do something that I would be like, oh, that was a good move. No, she was dumb the whole time. And I can't even pinpoint decisions up until this point because she hasn't really made any, because realistically, up until 46% of the way through this book, and I know because that's when I started commenting on it, nothing has truly happened, right? So 46% of the way through the book, we are on a mission to the salt mine. And what does she not do? Tell Cross that she's going to be there. And do you know who's also there? Cross, who, to his point, did also not tell her that he was going to be there, and they found out that he was going to be there while they were on the way there, and that's when she was like, oh my god, should I tell him? No, I'll just keep it to myself. I don't have any words for how infuriated I was in that moment, because she doesn't tell him that she's there until she's literally on the ground, like on a freaking motorcycle on the way in the middle of this op. She doesn't say a word to him. I would like to point out yet again that they have the ability to telepathically link and can talk. And I think Cross has been like trying to talk to her throughout all of this, and she's been like turning him down. Anyway, so they go. They rescue all of the mods. She finds out that Tana's locked up in a prison and can't get out, so she's like, everybody leave me, I'll go save her myself, because once again, Ren proves that she's not a team player. And so what happens? She goes and she saves Tana. Cross is left to deal with her mess, right? Because she gets in and Cross gives her the code to unlock Tana's like jail cell door, essentially. She lets Tana out and Cross is like, I'm outside, so she sends Tana to go be rescued by the people that are like leaving her behind or whatever. And she like makes out with Cross in this prison, and then he's like, you've got to go before they catch you, so she leaves. He asked to be reassigned to the salt mine. When he told her about it, he said, this is happening, but I'm trying to fix it. And she did not trust him to do so. So she took it to the rebellion, and they decided to do something to fix it. But do they communicate with each other about any of this as it's happening? No. Why the fuck would they do that? Instead, he makes a plan and she makes a plan. Neither person talks about the plan. Although I think that he was trying to talk to her throughout a lot of this, and she was trying to talk to him. Like, I don't know. The fact that we're using this telepathic link and we're just like making it a convenient excuse for them to not, because like, oh, I'm too busy to talk right now. Like, it's not like answering a phone call. You know what I'm saying? Like, you could be like, hey, is it something important? And then the other person could say yes or no, and you could have a conversation right there. Like, act like you gotta go take a piss. I don't really care, but if you're gonna give somebody the power to telepathically link with like their significant other and then give them a miscommunication trope, I'm going to be pissed off about this, because this is the stupidest miscommunication that I've literally ever read in my entire life. So then she's shocked that Cross gets arrested again. She's shocked that her poor decisions, once again, that he's had to clean up because that's his MO, once again, she's surprised that he is reaping the consequences of her actions. The man's in fucking jail again because she can't talk and tell him, hey, this is what we're planning on doing. And to his point, he also can't say, hey, I got reassigned to the salt mines and I was working on a plan to get them out. Like, nobody's saying anything to each other for the stupidest fucking reasons. There's like a rift between them, and she's all sad because she's like, oh my god, I didn't mean to get you arrested. And he's like, it's fine, I've got this, I'll be okay, they'll let me out, whatever. So there's a couple quotes that I do want to point out throughout all of this that really pissed me off. One of them is, she's finally telling him that they are at the salt mines. She's finally deigned to allow him to know that they have a plan that they are trying to implement. She's like telling him about it, and he's like, I've got you, always. You know that. As a response to like, are you gonna let us like do this, or are you gonna fuck our plan up? And that was his response. I've got you, always. You know that. And she goes, I love him so fucking much. Do you though? Do you? Because if you love him so fucking much, then why are we even dealing with this communication? Like, if you love him that much, you probably should have known that he was there. You probably should have realized that he wasn't just going to let all of those people die. You probably should have realized that he was going to implement a plan to do something about it. As a fallout from what happens, they're mad that, like, guards died in the rebellion's attack to, like, save the slaves. And so they execute 16 people. The Primes, like specifically Cross's brother, because Cross's brother is in charge now, executes 16 people. And she's like, Cross, 16 people are about to die. How do we fix this? He's in jail. He's in jail because of your fuck up. So I would really like to know what you think he's going to do about it, because you put him in jail. You got him arrested because you didn't bother asking what his plan was, what was going on there. He's in jail. And she always needs him to clean up her messes. This is like a theme of the story, because every single time something bad happens, she's like, Cross, oh my god, what do we do? Maybe if you talked about it beforehand, you could have come up with a plan for what to do, and he wouldn't have been in jail. So he finally gets out of jail, and then he like really desperately needs to meet with her. He's saying that it's really, really important, blah, blah, blah. Finally, she manages to convince Grayson to like get him to meet with her, but she only has like an hour, I think, like not a lot of time. So she goes, they meet up with each other in like, I don't think it's a cemetery, but I don't know. There's like rocks. I wasn't paying that much attention at this point, honestly. I was so frustrated. They meet up with each other, and he's like, essentially what it comes down to is he discovered that there's like normal primes that have had their minds corrupted by somebody that has powers like the woman from the first book that can like corrupt the minds and like make them brain dead, essentially. And they had found like a lab full of people in the first book that had their minds corrupted. Well, Cross found out that it had been done on purpose, and so obviously that means that a mod did that, right? She refuses to believe that it's possible that anybody in the uprising could have been responsible for this, even though he's straight up telling her, and she has zero reason not to trust him, because why would he lie? Like, it's not like he's on the Prime side, right? In every interaction, he's on Ren's side. That's like the only place that he wants to be. That's all he cares about. He cares about keeping her safe, and he cares about like making her happy, essentially. So there's no reason that he would be on the Prime side of like murdering people or hurting innocent people, but for some reason, in this instance, she goes, I don't know, I don't think I would believe that. Like, it doesn't seem to make any sense that these people that I've known for 2 seconds, like, would do such a terrible, awful thing. And he's like, but it's true, like, I don't think that this world is salvageable. Please run away with me, because I can't go with you, because they hate me. I'm the general's son. They would probably kill me on sight. And she's like, no, they wouldn't do that. That's a stupid idea. But I can't go back with you because they'll kill me, because there's a red threat. So like he wants them to run away together. And where this ends up instead is they break up. They break up because Ren's a dumbass. Does Cross want them to break up? No, but he's frustrated because she doesn't understand that like his innocent mom, who we find out has had her mind corrupted. Oh, that's another thing. We find out that the woman from the rebellion corrupted Cross's mom's mind. And do we tell him this information? No. No, we don't. Because we don't want to hurt his feelings, I guess. He's a big boy. I don't really know what the mentality is there other than Ren is stupid. No, she doesn't tell him that. She lets him figure it out on his own, and then it's like, I'm so sorry. I've known about it since I got to the rebellion, but I didn't want to worry you. She is the single most hateable character that I have read in a really long time. Like, I don't know that there's any coming back from this. They break up. Blah, blah, blah. Shit happens. you find out that Grayson has had feelings for her essentially this entire time. And fast forward through a bunch of bullshit that nobody cares about, she finally decides to give Grayson a chance. And so, because she's been like in her pain of the breakup that she caused, let's be honest, she keeps trying to link with Cross, and he keeps like not accepting the link. So she's like, oh my god, he's done with me, he's moved on. And she starts sleeping with Grayson. She's sleeping with Grayson. Starts this whole fucking relationship with him. Like, Cross doesn't love me anymore, so like I might as well be happy with what I can be happy with. And she like, in the middle of it, like, we get more sex scenes with Grayson than we did with Cross, and like, I don't hate the guy, but there's no love triangle where it makes sense, right? Like, these two have been telepathically connected since they were 6 years old. Whatever the sci-fi dystopian equivalent of a fated mates pair is, that's Ren and Cross. And instead, we go on this dumbass side quest for like 400 pages. It's so long and it's so unnecessary. We go on a side quest for so insanely long about how she doesn't know what to do with her feelings and she's so heartbroken and blah, 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 blah. And she doesn't give a fuck about what's going on with Cross because she can't link with him, whatever. Would he have burned the world down to get to her if he could not reach her? I fully believe that that is the case. She's playing house with Grayson this entire time, right? He's had feelings for her for a while, and then she is like at this place where there's like a smuggler guy named, I don't remember his name, Julian maybe, and he like tells her that he was in that brothel that she and Cross had met at earlier in the book, and he walked into a room and Cross was like sleeping with another woman and blah 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 blah. And so like, he moved on, you should move on too. And now she's like fully crashing out again because, oh my god, Cross slept with somebody else. Bitch, you have been actively sleeping with Grayson for like a while. And as she's crashing out about this, Grayson is, like I said, I don't hate him. He's a sweet soul. He's like, I can't be the person that you talk to about this, but like, here's Tana. You can be upset with her and like grieve your relationship, but like, I'll be here when you're ready. And so that happens. The last maybe 40-ish% of this book, I listened to at two plus times the speed, which for me is either a good thing or a bad thing, depending on the book. In this case, definitely a bad thing. I kept bumping it up faster and faster so that I could, please, for the love of God, get it over with faster and faster. So anyway, surprise, surprise, the rebellion, like, betrays her, like, kind of. The guy who was in charge of the rebellion, who turns out to be Uncle Jim's twin brother, is evil. He's Uncle Jim's evil twin. And the guy who's been teaching her how to use her mind powers, that she has been saying since the first book that she doesn't want to use except in emergencies because it's bad and it's evil and it's whatever. And then she just kind of keeps using it in book 2 and then, like, explains away the circumstances. She's like, free will's so important to me, but, like, somebody plays a prank on her, because essentially that's what it is, and like leaves her stranded at the top of a mountain and then like flies away. And so she's like trying to use the ability on this person to fly the plane back, and I was like, that's not really an exigent circumstance, but okay. I'll give her the fact that like Grayson wouldn't leave her, but like, he's a big boy and that's his decision to make, and it didn't really turn out that badly anyway. So like, she used it on Grayson to leave her behind when she had fallen into a pit and she couldn't get up. She just betrayed every single, like, principal moral line she had that I thought she'd had from book 1, and it just progressively kept getting worse as the story went on. Like, she's stupider, she's naive, she's not a very good person, in my opinion, by the end of it. She puts her trust in people that she has absolutely no reason to put her trust in. She once again got bitten in the ass because she was keeping secrets from people that didn't deserve to have the secrets kept from them. Like the fact that her parents, like, intentionally killed a whole bunch of mods because they were traitors, and Grayson's parents and sister were in that attack. Whatever. Anyway, Callister betrays them. Turns out he's working with the guy who's been teaching her how to use her powers of, like, mind control, and he's the one who's been corrupting the people that Cross was, in fact, shockingly telling the truth about. Then in the end of this book, essentially the uncle pretty much shoves her off a cliff, right? For reasons. There's a whole bunch of stuff here that I really don't care about, and I could not care less to tell you guys about. But the way that the book ends is she gets shoved off a cliff. She's dangling there, hanging on for dear life. She's injured. She's about to fall into, I don't know, rocks, water, whatever the hell's at the bottom of a cliff. Somebody grabs her hand and like pulls her up. and it's Cross. These are the last 5 pages of the book. When I tell you Cross has gotten maybe 10% of screen time in this book, anyway, Cross pulls her up off the cliff, and she's like, oh my god, what are you doing here? And he was like, I came to save you, essentially. And then it cuts to Cross's point of view. You find out that he was like compelled, like weirdly compelled to, like, he woke up in the middle of the night and he was like absolutely certain that what he needed to do was go to the hangar and steal a plane or a helicopter or whatever and fly to this exact spot. And then when he got there, Ren was like about to die, and so he saved her. And like, so we don't know what's going on there. And then also, it's like, I can't believe you're alive. And she's like, what the fuck do you mean you can't believe I'm alive? And he was like, I felt your energy like signal go away. I couldn't feel you anymore. And she was like, I can feel yours. I've been able to like try and talk to you this entire time. So it turns out he's thought she was dead. We don't know how long he's thought she was dead for, but he's thought she was dead. Now, all I can picture is sad, poor, grieving Cross, mourning the love of his life, ready to burn the world down because he thinks that she's gone. And she's over here fucking playing house with Grayson, whatever his last name is, generic blonde white boy, because she's sad about a breakup that she caused. Because she's dumb. You're never gonna find me on Ren's side of this equation. I don't think that there is a female main character that I have disliked more. In recent memory, I can't even think of it, right? Like, had I not been so invested in the first book, I would have DNF'd this. And I talked about DNFing this several times. And I'm going to continue to be mad that the biggest relationship developments that we received were between her and Grayson. There's no way that you're not going to convince me that the only reason that Cross was sleeping with somebody else was it was a meeting of some sort and he was trying to, like, hide the evidence, essentially. Like, there's no way. I will say that I might be missing out on some perspective because I have not yet read the pre-order incentive chapters that are from Cross's and Grayson's point of view. I don't know if they're going to make a difference. I don't think that I'm going to read them. I hated this book. It took every single thing that I loved about book 1 and threw it in the trash and set the trash on fire. The thing that I loved so much about Ren and Cross was Ren and Cross, the way that they interacted with each other, her strength, right? She was so strong in the first book, and you could tell that she was there to do the right thing, and she was trying to help people. She was doing it for her own reasons, sure, but she had like moral boundaries, and she would do absolutely anything in the world to keep Cross safe. I don't know where the fuck that went in book 2, because she threw their entire relationship out the window. She didn't give a fuck about him anymore. She didn't care about their relationship anymore. She didn't care. She didn't fight for any aspect of it. Not once. Like I said, half the time he tried to link to her, and one time she was like, I'm on my way to a party. Like, I don't know if I can talk right now. She's not even... I'm tired. It destroyed my faith in a sequel. Like, I don't think it's a secret that I didn't really like Iron Flame as a book. I didn't really think that Iron Flame was a very good sequel. But at least the relationship strife that was too drawn out and also way too over-dramatized was in the relationship. You know what I'm saying? Like, we didn't break it up and introduce a love triangle that nobody signed up for. If I wanted a love triangle, I would go back and read Twilight again. I would go back and read The Hunger Games again. I hate nothing more than a love triangle that I didn't know was coming. If I am prepared for it going in, and I'm asking for it, sure, I'll take it. But giving me a love triangle in a sequel after you end the first book on a happy ending, because this isn't like a Tamlin Rhysand situation, by the way, which we didn't need, first of all, right? Like, everybody's trying to copy the Sarah J. Maas format of, like, introduce a love interest as a fake, and then the real love interest comes along later. That was never really a love triangle, you know what I'm saying? Like, she breaks up with Tamlin, she gets with Rhysand, Tamlin's out of the equation. This, she breaks up with Cross breaks up with her, whatever. She starts playing house with Grayson, and now Cross is back in the equation, and the reasons that she thought were not real because we don't talk to each other. It's full love triangle at this point. I hate every single thing about that. I'm so mad at this book, and I've been ranting about it for 40 minutes now, which is truly excessive. So, in case you couldn't tell, I have a couple things to wrap this up with. One, I bought a signed copy of Broken Dove, and I have never been more mad that I wasted my money on a book than I am right now. I don't think I'm going to read book 3. I don't know how many books are supposed to be in this series, but I have zero desire to continue on into the emotional strife that Danny Francis has planned. I've never been more disappointed in a sequel in my entire life. I'm infuriated once again, even talking about it. And let me tell you, I've ranted about this book several times over the last week, so I've said these words out loud multiple times, and I'm still mad as I say them out loud again. Anyway, I bought book 2. I'm mad that I bought book 2. I need emotional distance from this story if I am ever going to bother to attempt reading those pre-order Cross and Cross and Grayson's like chapters, because I don't care. I'm gonna need other people to read and give me full spoilers of what happens in book 3 if I am ever to attempt to go into book 3. But for right now, I'm done. I do not care, and I'm pretending that Silver Elite ended as a standalone. I don't really care what happened with the rebellion after the end of book 1. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm sure they did fine. Cross is gonna get out there eventually. They're gonna save the day. Not whatever happened in this dumpster fire of a book. That's all I'm gonna say about this after 40 minutes of full-on ranting. I'm so tired. I can't talk about it anymore. I'm done with wasting my mental energy on this book, and I think I'm gonna go find something else that will make me feel better. Now, I will say, minor promotion, that if you heard me talk about Silver and Blood by Jessie Mihalik, I read that in the fall of last year, and I just recently received an arc of book 2, and when I tell you that that reinstated my faith in sequels, because I read it right after I finished Broken Dove, so I'm gonna keep going down that train and hopefully find a way to wash the disgusting taste of Broken Dove out of my mouth, because I don't think I've ever been so mad about a book. Ever. And that's it for this one today, guys. So don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe because it really helps out my channel. Down in the description box, you're going to see links to Goodreads and Twitter, whatever it's called, Storygraph, etc., as well as a Penguin Random House affiliate link. I'm a Penguin Random House affiliate now, surprise, as well as a discount code for Unplugged Book Box. Go check them out if you have not yet. And I'm going to stop talking because I'm tired. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.